I felt a sensation right across here, which is unusual. And I labeled this like, what is this called? Right here. I called it the right mandible. And I looked that up, and it said that if you have um, that sensation, the emotional symbolism of it is that you're trying to repress your um, thoughts or your feelings of the expression of truth, is the best way to put it. And so I was like, well, what is it that I was trying to decide not to do? And it was I was going to, skip on making a video about what's going on with my thoughts about Ren Gill again. So I guess that if I feel any kind of sensation like that I need to pay attention to it. And that also is indicative of like when I was younger, I had when I was a child, I had my tonsils and my adenoids removed. And so I tried to go back and look that up too. And if you focus on the spiritual meaning of stuff, when you notice anything going on in your body, it's very much more helpful than saying, I'm gonna go cut that body part out or something, or get some pain pills or something like that. That's not good for you. So to stay like in a the kind of marriage where your flesh and your spirit, which your spirit is like your halo or whatever's going on up here in your mind about what's going on with you. You keep that connected, trying to figure out, okay, what is this about? What's my thoughts going on right now? I'm going to explore that and keep on the track of staying honest. And then the pain will just go away. It just leaves. And that's another thing that you're like, I think that's indicative of your God presence or however that works. Okay, so what the conversation is today is that I'm contemplating putting an end to my hope in this relationship with Ren because it's not, I don't feel like it's got enough depth for me anymore. Like, because I've already had to dig through so much of my past that I just don't want to do that anymore. And I'm not feeling like I'm experiencing enough of his thoughts and feelings about any of these things. It just seems like therapeutic exercises. And so I have this feeling that it's time to get on to another pathway with my plans. It's like I've come to the conclusion that I may not be cut out for some of the things that I thought I wanted, and I may not even understand how those things work. But I don't like to see the way that Ren acts on stage. I don't like to see him with his shirt off and acting like he's humping the air or whatever he's doing. Especially don't like to see him at Boomtown. And I don't like to see him doing anything that's stupid or harmful towards himself. And I can reflect that back upon like some of the ways that I might and try and imagine how it might have felt back when I used to try and date, how somebody might feel about the way I was acting and just never told me. And so maybe it's best that I say something about it instead of having this feeling here. So that's what I'm doing. That it is helpful in such a way that I can imagine somebody not liking my behavior a long time ago and then just deciding to stay away from me instead of talking with me about it. And so regardless of where the relationship is headed, it's the kindest thing that I do to express my concerns. Okay, I have made this decision several times that there is no way that I would stay in a relationship with any man who is not talkative. I can't I can't hardly stand that, because it just makes me feel like I can just stay in my own world and have conversations with myself, or read whatever I'm interested in, or do whatever I think is important to do. And so that's a huge thing for me. Conversations, communication, whatever you want to call it. I'm not interested in a relationship with anyone who has poor communication skills and poor planning skills. And and I say poor planning skills if like you're in trying to engage with somebody and it seems one-sided, or that mirror type situation, because it's like that's not good enough for me. Now, of course, I know of the presence within me, but it's it's um it's still something that needs to be brought to the surface, because like I said, that presence within me can be questionable when I start to like feel like I'm getting back in that framework of like wondering if it's Jonathan or anything like that, and starting to feel like I don't believe it is Ren Gill anymore, and that it was only some kind of uh, what would you say, like therapeutic exercises. I don't know. My inner voice said it's definitely not Jonathan, but it still wants me to talk. So anyway, having that insight to trying imagining Ren a long time ago, when I like noticed that he had my name in his song from however many years ago. And then one specific example is him sitting on stage at a bar singing to a person, looking emotional, and saying, I think that you should give it a rest. I think after he talks about some shot of lemon zest. But it was like he was very concerned about the drinking factor. And so, me trying to imagine that in my mind as to what he had to go through, as if it was me that he was singing to, was something that put um, a deep sorrowful feeling within myself, that to consider that he might have had to go through some emotional experiences that he did not want to go through. And so when I think about this Boomtown thing or any of that other stuff that I don't want anything to do with looking at it, or I feel like I don't want the relationship anymore because of the way he's acting, that I have to consider that how he felt a long time ago, and then him coming through and um, doing these things with me, which strengthened me. And also, um, I have to consider, like, when I start to maybe look as at any person as if they, like, okay, if I start to look at Ren Gill as if it's a lost cause because I don't like how he's acting or behaving, then I have to remember that he could have looked at me as a lost cause that he didn't want to deal with because he didn't like how I was acting many years ago. Okay? So that is like sort of weighing things in my mind and bringing to light what goes on with my thoughts. Because there used to be much more at stake when I was in the place of wanting to get away from my parents' house, and then also in the place of trying to meet a partner in which we could build a life together and be supportive of each other. I am not in that position anymore. Like I'm extremely happy with the fact that I have my own house, and so it's like it's like the best thing that ever happened to me, because I am there. Like there is absolutely nobody at all that I have to argue with or to go through to be the person that I think I need to be. And so it's a very, very good circumstance to have arrived in. And so it's going to take me a lot of evidence to be able to decide that I ever want to get involved in a romantic relationship or have a love partner that I share a home with. That's a huge thing. It is a huge thing, and it's not anything that I want to jump into. So I will keep doing these honesty things. He says, "I love you, babe." See, I can talk without worrying about him getting mad at me, and we can take it day by day. But I still don't think it's fair that I'm talking so much and you're not talking very much, Ren Gill. He says, "I love you" again. Okay, well, um, that is what you do when you try to figure out. I mean, this is an example of what you do when you try and figure out how to. My favorite example of this is like that movie, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's not an exact example, but how the girl has that emotional gun, right? And she doesn't think that the boys that are with her um, get her and how she feels. And so she shoots that gun at them. And then they're like, "Oh, oh, I had no idea." Okay. That's how it is when you you look at somebody and you have this belief that you really matter to that person, and they have worked really hard to try and help you to see things in a new light. Okay? You can't just like be so I got where I wanted to get, and to hell with whoever helped me get there. That's not an appropriate way to be. You have to consider you have to consider what's relevant information. You have to consider what's good for yourself now, and you have to take into account that if like for example, if Ren went back to when I was like, let's say let's go way back. Let's say back to when I was like around 23 or 24 years old. And I had like video recordings of my behavior and how I was as a person. And he looked at those today and tried to make a decision of whether or not he cared about me based on that, instead of like having taken into account of all the things that I've done to change. That would be useless information, I think. I mean, it'd be enough information for him to be grateful or understanding of who I became and what I like. I guess you'd say the um, the maturity or the the God element or whatever it was that helped shape me to get to where I am here now. But so it's not, I don't think it's not all that good for me to not have enough information about um, Ren Gill currently, about what he's doing now. Because it's like anybody is possible of changing who they want to be any day of their life. And so to try and go back and make decisions of old video recordings, I don't think that's the best thing to do. I know I can think about it, but he made those decisions about what he thought was a good idea to do in those moments, and that's not what's going on today. And so we need to be more up to date with what we're wanting to do now, because I don't want my decisions to be like in the wrong time zone, if that makes any sense. So, and the other thing I was thinking about with children and the ability to know what's inside of somebody's mind, and my like firmly held belief of privacy, that privacy is important. I would not want to be a mind reader of my children's minds. I just don't. I would not feel comfortable with that. I don't want to know about, like, I think that that's like, I would want to be separated from that in some way. Like, I wouldn't mind. I mean, of course, I would, like, be able to, guide them to, you know, be able to take care of themselves. But I do not want to be any kind of invader of somebody's personal privacy. So that is a question that I have about this whole family dynamic. There are things that I do not understand really. He says, "Thank you, baby." So we're good. Thank you for sharing, is what he says. Keep up the good work. Okay. Sayonara.